Okay, today's lesson is lesson 2-5, part A. So we're going to do this lesson for 2 days because it's probably a difficult one, but you can get it. It's called adding and subtracting rational expressions. I'm going to ask Mrs. Harris to pause the video for just a moment while you write this information down in your 2 essential questions. Also, write down the steps to adding and subtracting 2 rational expressions. As number 1, determine the common denominator. 2, make both denominators common. 3, add the numerators. And we're going to do a real number example here in a second. But pause the video while you write those 3 things down, those 3 steps. Okay. Remember, also, you guys, you can rewatch this video. I'm posting it to my website where you can bring it up, pull it up, and you can watch it as many times as you want. You can rewind the video and so forth. But Mrs. Harris will be pausing the video as you go out throughout this lesson, and she will let you have a chance to work it. And if anybody thinks they know how to do something and everybody's struggling with it, you can get up here and do it on the whiteboard. Okay, so we're going to start off with adding these 2 fractions together. Well, 4/5 plus 7/8. In order to add 2 fractions together, you have to have a common denominator. And so the first thing I got to do, the first step is determine the common denominator. I can do that by writing all the factors of these numbers. Well, 5 is just 5. I mean, 5 times 1 is 5, but 1 we're not going to count here. 8, we can write that as 2 times 2 times 2. Well, notice that there's no common factors between 5 and 2 times 2 times 2, so there's nothing in common. So the way to get a common factor is to multiply these 2 together, because we're just going to take 5 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is 40. So my common denominator is 40. So I'm going to rewrite these 2 problems over here. Something over 40 plus something over 40. Now, I'm going to ask myself, what did I times this 5 by to get 40? Well, I times it by 8. So I have to times the top by 8 too. We times the bottom by 8, got times 8, top by 8. 8 times 4 is 32. What did I times the 8 by to get 40? Just to get that? Well, I times it by 5. So we got times the top and bottom of this one by 5. 7 times 5 is 35. And we already have the 40 on the bottom. So that's the first thing, is to determine the common denominator, then make both denominators common, which we just did. And the third thing is just add the numerators. 32 plus 35 makes 67 over 40. And that right there is our answer, because that does not simplify. You could write it as a mixed number like 1 and 37/40, but we're going to leave it like that. Actually, 27/40, 1 and 27/40. All right, here's our first problem. Mrs. Harris, go ahead and pass out the assignment. You can pause this while you do so, and we will do number 1 together. Okay, here we go. First thing, determine the common denominator. Well, we already have a common denominator. We have 11x as both of our denominators, which makes it really nice. All I have to do now is subtract the numerators. 27 subtract 5 makes 22. All over the common denominator, 11x. You don't add the common denominators, you just write 11x. The common denominator. Now, I can simplify this. 22 can be written as 2 times 11. And so I can see that the 11s cancel out. We've been doing that assignment. And I get 2 over x. And that's my answer. Go ahead and pause the video and do problem number 2 with your partner. And please share. Everybody be taught. If someone doesn't understand, teach them. Okay, we'll do problem number 3. you'll see that problem number 3 also has a common denominator, 8y. So all we have to do is add the numerators. Well, I got to add like terms. I see that x right here and 6x are common. They're like terms, so I can go 1x plus 6x makes 7x. And negative 1y plus negative 3y, those are common right there. I mean, those are like terms. So negative y and minus plus a negative 3y makes a negative 4y. And that all goes over 8y. Now, nothing factors up there, so we cannot cancel anything. I cannot cancel the y's. I cannot cancel the 4's. That is simplified. That is your answer. The reason I can't is because I have to do the subtraction right up here first. That's what order of operation tells us to do. So that problem is done. Go ahead and pause the video and do number 4 together as a partnership. Please do it that way. Okay, problem number 5. Once again, we still have a common denominator, x squared plus 6x plus 9. So all I have to do is add the numerators. Well, they are not like terms. So I just write 3x plus 9 all over the common denominator. Well, I notice that the top and bottom both factor. I can take out a greatest common factor out of the numerator of 3. If I do that, that leaves me with x plus 3 inside the parentheses. Also, on the bottom, I'm looking for two numbers I can times together and get this 9. And when I add them together, I get 6. I think some of you guys know that answer. That is x plus 3 times x plus 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 plus 3 is 6. Well, the x plus 3's cancel out, and my answer is 3 over x plus 3. That is it. Nothing else cancels. I cannot cancel those 3's because once again, the x and the 3 on the bottom have to be added together before you could ever cancel it with the 3 on the top, and we don't know what x is, so we can't do that. So that is simplified. Go ahead and pause the video and do number 6. Okay, this next problem, we need to factor out, well, first of all, x plus 2 over here, the first denominator is x plus 2. It can't factor at all. The second denominator, I can factor out a common factor of 3. That leaves me with x plus 2, because 3 times x plus 2 would be 3x plus 6. Well, notice that this one has a factor of x plus 2. This one has a factor of x plus 2. The only thing I'm missing is over here is a 3. So if I times the top and bottom of this side over here by 3, I will have my common denominator. So I'm going to times the 3 times the 3, I get 9. And 3 times the x and the 2 makes 3x plus 6. And then my other fraction is 2 over 3x plus 6. And I have my common denominator. If you didn't catch that, you can rewind it and watch it again. And since I have my common denominator, I subtract. 9 minus 2 is 7 over 3x plus 6. And that right there is my answer. Pause it and do number 8. Okay, number 9. Once again, x minus 5 is all the way factored. But over here, the 3x minus 15, I can factor out a 3. And that leaves me with 3 times x minus 5. Well, you have an x minus 5 on the left and an x minus 5 on the right. The only thing you're missing, once again, is a 3. So I got to times the top and bottom by 3. 3 times 7 is 21. And 3 times x minus 5 is 3x minus 15. And on the right, I have 2 over 3x minus 15. And I just add the numerators. 21 plus 2 makes 23 over 3x minus 15. And that's my answer. Now I can factor the bottom to be 3 times x minus 5 like we had it, but it still doesn't cancel with the 23. So you can just leave it like that, or you can leave it in factored form. Pause it and do number 10. Okay, problem number 11. I have 3 over x plus 7 minus 4 over x minus 8. These are both factored, x plus 7 and x minus 8. So the common denominator is obtained by timesing the two denominators together. So x plus 7 times x minus 8. So this one I got to times by x minus 8, but I got to do it to the top as well. Because x minus 8 over x minus 8 is equal to 1, and you can times anything by 1 and not change the value of it. It just changes what it looks like. It's a kind of special kind of 1. And on the right side, I got to times the bottom by x plus 7, which means I also have to times the top by x plus 7. So that's a special 1 over there as well. So I'm going to distribute the 3 to both of these, and I'm going to get 3x minus 24 over the x minus 8 times x plus 7. I'm not going to multiply those together because we might need to have them factored at the end to see if anything cancels. Subtract, and over here I'm going to multiply that 4 by both of those terms. 4x plus 28 all over x minus 8 times x plus 7. This has common denominators now, so I can combine like terms on the top. Now keep in mind I'm subtracting, so we can change the subtractions to a problem to a plus, to an addition problem by making that a plus and changing the signs to make that a negative 4x and this a negative 28. And then we combine like terms. 3x plus a negative 4x makes negative x, and negative 24 plus a negative 28, that's going to make a negative, what, 52? All over x minus 8 times x plus 7. And none of those cancel, so that's your answer. Go ahead and do number 12 with your shoulder partner. Please work in partnerships. Okay, number 13, last one I'm going to do, and then the rest is homework. Notice I have an x minus 7 and an x plus 7 for my denominators. Well, they're not the same. And they're factored already, and there's no common factors, so I got to times the left side by x plus 7 over x plus 7, and the right side by x minus 7 over x minus 7. So on the left side, I have x squared plus 7x over x plus 7 times x minus 7. All I did is I distributed that x to both terms. And on the right, I have 7 times x and 7 times negative 7. That makes 7x minus 49 all over x plus 7 times x minus 7. So I have my common denominators. I just need to combine like terms. There's only one x squared. There's a 7x plus 7x, which makes 14x. And there's a negative 49. And that all goes over the common denominator, x plus 7 times x minus 7. Now, it kind of almost appears that the top might factor, because the negative 49, then you go negative 7 times positive 7 is negative 49. The problem is when you add those together, you get 0x, not 14x. So it's not factorable, and so this is your answer. All right. Remember you have a daily quiz today still to take. That would be daily quiz 2-5 daily quiz that you're going to take today. 2.5 part A. So you're going to take that today and be ready for it by doing the problems and talking about it. And if someone wants to get up and teach, you can do that. All right. Have a good day.